to you joining the chat discussions, networking, learning from the presenters, speakers, as well as engaging our interactive poll questions. We ask that you include your questions in the chat, and we will try to answer them in the Q&A sessions. The summit is scheduled to be nothing but extraordinary, and we are glad you are here. Would everyone give yourself an applause? We are 119 on here. Hey, and they coming. They gonna figure it out like we did, y'all. They gonna figure it out. And I am so honored that you're here. Now, I'm going to put in the chat. See, I knew technology was going to show up with something. So I'm going to put in the chat the link to where you can get the agenda. Give me 1 second. And we're going to, and that way you can follow us as we go through. So where is it? Okay, I gotta find it. Oh, no, I don't. I can go right here. Okay, give me 1 second, because I think it's very important for everybody to be able to download the agenda. Now, before we begin, let's start with housekeeping. First, we will have the Zoom icons. And the icons are going to be very important for this. Now, I got so much going on, y'all. The person who was supposed to help me, they weren't able to help me. So, hey, it's okay. It's okay, because we're going to make it through this. We're going to make it through it like soldiers. Okay. Now, let's share and go to the Zoom icons. Okay, it's preparing to, it's loading. Now, can everybody see the picture? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We are going to focus on number 6, which is the chat. The chat is going to be our source of information, where we're going to be able to download. It's the Q&A. It's telling us where you work. It's what, if you have information or organization and you want people to know what's going on, that is going to be our source. The next button is going to be the reaction button. Although we won't be able to hear each other, the reaction button, when you hear the speaker speak, hit the reaction button if you like what they're saying. You know, put it in the chat that you like what they're saying as well, okay? Now, the last button is the save chat button, and that is, if everybody can see, it's under 6, 7, 8. Prayerfully, Zoom is not messing with us, but there are 3 dots and it says save the chat. You will be able to save the chat before you leave. Now, as I'm asking, please use your reactions and let everybody know how you feel as we're moving forward. Okay, now the next one is going to be our polls. We will have 4 polls where your voice will matter. And I'm so upset because we really wanted so many people. I mean, y'all, I'll show you the numbers. It's close to 600 people and they can't get on. And that's really sad because they knew the power of the voice is going to be very important. So with the poll questions and the 4 different polls, we need your help. We need you to participate. There are multiple choice. All your questions are unanimous. No one will know what you're saying, okay? Now, also, and we really would like everyone to participate. Lastly, we will have the disclaimer. And once I can get you the link to the agenda, then we will. Hey, Myra, thank you so much for being able to get in. And if you could send out the message, Myra, how you got into the Certified Peer Specialist of Washington, D.C., I would appreciate it because we have over close to 600 people, and Myra is a Certified Peer Specialist and a leader in Washington, D.C. Thank you so much. The disclaimer. Now, The disclaimer is located on the program that you are going to receive. And I would like to read the disclaimer to you. This disclaimer states as following. The virtual Peer Solution Leadership Summit is not a recovery summit, nor an opiate crisis summit, or a coronavirus update information session. All presenters' viewpoints, opinions, beliefs, thoughts, and expressions are solely the presenters' own personal opinions and experiences. They do not purport the opinions of the Peer Solution Leadership Summit or Now Hope to Reality Certified Business Enterprise, and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, gender, culture, club, organization, agencies, or individuals, nor anyone or anything. The Peer Solution Leadership Summit is being recorded. If you should choose not to be recorded, please turn off your video cameras. No part of the Peer Solution Leadership Summit may be recorded, reproduced, or transmitted in any means, electrical or mechanical, including but not limited to video or audio recording, photographing, photocopy, or any other information storage or retrieval system known now or in the future, without the explicit written permission of the Peer Solution Leadership Summit, Now Hope to Reality LLC, Certified Business Enterprise Organization. The Peer Solution Summit chat is being utilized for networking and information sharing. All attendees have permission to download the chat that will be utilized as a source for resources and or collaboration. The Peer Solution Leadership Summit moderators hold the right to remove any offensive, disruptive, or any comments they deem inappropriate. Any attendee that is removed from the summit will not be allowed to return without any notifications. We're not having it. We're here to learn, and we want a successful summit. You will be reported to the Zoom platform authorities, and the chat is being monitored and recorded. So I just wanted to share that before we begin this awesome event. Also, if you feel any topic or information that is being shared from the Peer Solution Leadership Summit applies to you personally, or if you feel you are in a mental health or relapse or behavioral health crisis to any discussion or any topic, the Peer Solution Leadership Summit organizer encourages you to seek an assessment from a qualified behavioral health professional or a qualified clinician or other healthcare practitioners, and or call 911 right away. If you feel you are in any crisis, okay? Now, the Peer Solution Leadership Summit does not recommend or endorse any specific products or medical providers or recovery entities, and there are no corporate commercial sponsors for this summit. However, I would like to acknowledge my spiritual father who has made the Peer Solution Leadership Summit possible, even though my people ain't always on here yet, but they're gonna get here, and for the success of this summit with prayer. You're welcome to join me, or you can mute yourself if you feel the need to. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us, Lord, not into temptation, but deliver us from all evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. So let's get to work. Let's do our first poll. I'm going to launch this now, and I'm going to take this off. Okay. Thank you, Carl Mack. Thank you so much. I think it's very important to, we already know technology is really something, but this summit was ordained and information is power. So we have our first poll. Thank you for working it. And we're going to come up with real-time answers once everybody finish answering the question. What are the greatest needs that society is facing the most? All right, we almost there, y'all. And you will also be able to receive the data from, oh yeah, well, thank you, Nora. I will do that right now. Okay, we're almost there, almost there. Almost there. We have a few more people answering the question. What are the greatest needs that society is facing the most? Okay. All right, let's end the poll right now and let's share the results. Okay, can y'all see that? It says mental behavior health disorders are the greatest needs that we are facing right now. Crime looks like it came in number 2. What else? Let me go down and make sure I'm not. Wow, housing came in number 2. Housing, crime. So you see that there is a need for the peer workforce. Now, I'm getting ready to get the agenda because I'm telling you. The agenda, I'm going to get that to you guys, but I'm going to read what I have. Thank God I print everything out. The agenda, housekeeping, disclaimer, first poll, and now we're going to have our first presentation from. Okay, let's stop sharing that. And that was 77% of y'all participated in that. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, let's take that down. We have our first, let me see if I can do this. Unmute. I'm getting good, y'all. Y'all working with me. Mr. Jonathan Brooks, are you ready to present? You're on mute. Let's see, unmute. Try now, John.
There we go. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, and please introduce yourself to our wonderful guests.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Brooks. I'm currently working in Washington, D.C., living in Prince George's County in Maryland. Do you just want me to just go into my presentation, Rhonda?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, great. Well, really grateful to be here today, to be able to share with you folks. Just going to go a little bit into my story. Was born in Baltimore, the youngest of 4. Pretty much had a normal childhood, nothing significant. But in high school, when I was graduating senior, I ended up starting to drink. Was influenced by friends at parties to just take a hit, and it just escalated from there. I was blessed to get a scholarship to Morgan State University in their new engineering program. And the truth is that the scholarship was a blessing, didn't see it coming, but I thought I'd make the most of it. But actually, when I got into the college life, the whole lifestyle, became more addictive to me than anything else. Just the clubs, the cars, the women, the fun, I just didn't focus on, my degree, and ended up losing my scholarship in my sophomore year. Because that lifestyle was just impacting, how I was living. I was able to get back in school after like a year, and graduated in 1991. But the same month I graduated, I had a hearing for possession of marijuana charge. And I was sentenced to 2 year supervised probation. And I said, well, who's going to hire an engineer who's a drug addict? So really actually didn't even look for a job in my field. A few years later, an advisor gave me an opportunity to work at a high school in Baltimore as a computer lab technician. Did well with that. The principal offered me a position as a special education math teacher, and really thought I had found the career, that I would have for the rest of my life. Um, but then my mental illness started to, spiral into a deep abyss, deep, deep, deep. It was bad. Um, I was rooted in the delusion that I believed I was the next Jesus Christ. And I had a spiritual gift, and I was off into a spiritual war. Um, it spiraled until 1995. I left Baltimore in a friend's car, ended up coming through DC, and committed a series of crimes. Was locked up probably about an hour after the incident. Got over to the jail and was immediately medicated. Very thankful for that, because it could have went a very different way. Just looking at the way police and the mental health community engage does it today, it's just shocking, the numbers that we see. So because of that incident, I was actually convicted of armed robbery and unauthorized use of a vehicle. But the rest of the charges, I was found not guilty by reason of insanity, and sent to St. Elizabeth's Hospital. Some used to call it the biggest nut house on the East Coast. And it was a place to be. And the thing is, and I realized this early on, it's just not natural being locked up. The human spirit is challenged from day one to just kind of make it through, that type of experience. But the thing is, in that place, I was really able to find hope again. If you've ever, gone to a state-run mental health facility, you kind of understand what St. Elizabeth's is like. But in that dark place, I just wanted to get better. And it was great. I was really allowed a lot of support from people as I focused on my recovery. Because the thing is, I realized the day I got locked up, there was going to be a day I came home. And I wanted to prepare for that day, because I just wanted to live my life differently. Um, Near the end of my stay there, I heard about the certified peer specialist training in Washington, D.C. And I applied in 2013, but I didn't have the privileges to attend. So I went back that next year because I was able to travel independently, and got into the peer specialist training. After the classroom schedule, where we learned about, just different behavioral health issues, they gave us a week off. And during that week, I moved into the community from St. Louis, finished up the practicum, and in September of 2014, was certified as a peer specialist. Now, the thing is, I really didn't use it right away because I was working part-time at the hospital, had my own apartment, had Social Security benefits. In my mind, I thought I was doing the best. I was in the best shape mentally, spiritually, physically, and financially that I had been in my whole life. But with the help of or the kind of soft nudge of one of the staff at the hospital, I ended up leaving and going to Catholic Charities as a peer specialist, and worked there on a contract, on a grant from DBH. But after about a year on that team, the budget got cut because, money can get funny real quick. So I ended up moving to an ACT team, and really just realized I needed to better my position in life. So went back to school. And when I went back to school, I pursued a master's in public administration because I was going to either work in the government or for a nonprofit. Um, and I was blessed to graduate in 2019 with that degree. But the thing is, working at Catholic Charities, I just realized the challenges of living in a community with mental illness. There's so many ways that people fall through the cracks. And I just wanted to help, just fill up those areas of support because it's not easy. Being stigmatized, looked at differently, degraded, is challenging on a daily basis, sometimes just to get up and go out. So being able to participate in my recovery was big for me. And the amazing thing is, while I was at Catholic Charities, one of the directors at DBH, called to meet with me. I'm like, sure. I'd worked with her some with the Patient Advisory Council at St. Elizabeth's. And she was like, well, let's meet at Starbucks. And I couldn't understand that. I was like, okay, all right, sure. And she gave me an opportunity I could have never imagined. She asked if I would go back to St. Elizabeth's as a supervisor for consumer and family affairs. And when she said that, I kind of I had to look away. I said, hold up. Okay, I'm a convicted felon. I don't have my degree yet. And you want me. She said, I heard about you and they say you're the man for the job. I said, thank God. So got that opportunity, started in 2018. And at that point, I realized I needed to kind of share what I had experienced. I had actually written a book while at St. Elizabeth's, but with all the blessings God had given me, I knew I had to extend it to just talk about getting back to St. Elizabeth's. So in 2019, like I said, I graduated, I got engaged, bought my first home. 2020, we got married. But then 2021 came around and it was time to put the story out there. So I wrote a book called Have You Lost Your Mind? I did. And it talked about my whole memoir, my whole autobiography, left nothing out. Wanted to share honestly and completely about all that God had done for me. Because I realized that early on, it wasn't me. It was none but God. So I walk in his grace. I walk in his mercy. I'm thankful to him every day for allowing me to get up and be a beacon of hope at St. Elizabeth's. And it's been a journey. I could only tell you to read the book. It's on Amazon. My email's in the chat. If you're interested in connecting, please do. Because I think this community needs to continue to support itself. Because we know what the experience are and we know how to get the help we need. So today I just want to end by thanking Miss Johnson for allowing me to be a part of the light that she shines in Washington, D.C. on a daily basis. She's an advocate who fights the fight. So thank you for allowing me to come out and share. And if there are any questions, I'll look through the chat. But thank you and be blessed.
All right, everybody. Let's give Jonathan a round of applause. That was awesome. Awesome, awesome. Next, we have Dr. Nora Green Lane. And I just put in the chat the link for the agenda. And Dr. Green Lane, are you ready? Let me see how I can do this. It says unmute. And you are ready. Please introduce yourself to everyone. You're on mute. Wait a minute, you're on mute. Unmute you. Okay, try that.
Got it. All right. All right. By the way, Miss Johnson, you're doing an excellent job. Technology may not be your best friend, but you're making the best of it. And thank you so much. So I hope you guys can hear me. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. I appreciate this opportunity to share. I actually just moved all my papers to the side so my son could sit with me so I could help him with his homework. So I'm doing double duty. So let me find my papers again. They're right here in front of me, but give me just a second. I'm not putting it on him. It's not him. It's not him. It's his mommy. Mom moved too fast. Oh my goodness. Okay. Um, for the sake of time, I did have a very long, lengthy type of presentation, and I am not going to do that to your folks. My name is Dr. Nora Green Lane. I'm with the Ward 7 and 8 DC Prevention Center. I actually do a lot of work with communities in Ward 7 and 8 in Washington, DC. I'm the program manager for the DC opioid response for our communities. And one of the things that I want to really talk about is solutions about what we can do. And I decided to be very succinct in this. First of all, I think the biggest thing that we need to really do is address structural and systemic racism. Because I live east of the river, that is a very big problem, even though the District of Columbia is pretty much a Democratic city, but we do not have statehood, number one. Number two, it has been run for several decades by African Americans, but we still have this issue of structural and systemic racism, which plays a very big role to this very moment on the areas that I'm most concerned with, which is opioids. 7 and 8, predominantly Black communities are bearing the brunt, and even the brown communities in the District of Columbia around the opioid crisis. It may look different in West Virginia, it may look different in Maryland and other parts of the country, but here, it looks very much like this structural racism that we haven't been able to address. So what can we do? The hope that we can do is for people to be involved on the higher level of this structural racism. And what do we mean by structural racism? Because it does play a role in the social determinants of health. So according to when we look at institutional racism and structural racism, we're looking at the processes, attitudes, and behaviors which amounts to the discrimination through unwitting prejudice, ignorance, thoughtlessness, and racist stereotyping, which disadvantage minority and ethnic people. And it includes institutional and structural racism, which goes hand in hand. Institutional racism relates to the institutions of education, criminal justice, and health. And we can see how these areas correlate to the prison to the school to prison pipeline, the mass incarceration, in particular of African Americans and people of color, and the continued disadvantages of schools, which correlates to the income and wealth gaps. And those wealth gaps have become extremely enlarged. And we can see it even in data for the District of Columbia. So when we think about data in the District of Columbia, and the reason I'm going through all this little stuff, because I know this is the technical things, is that if we really are serious about solutions, it is not because the District of Columbia is broke. As a matter of fact, in 2021, we ended our year with a banner year of almost $500 million in our coffers. And yet, those that have the greatest problems are having, and those with the greatest needs are not being met. So here's how 2021 ends for the District of Columbia. Annie Casey's Kids Count Foundation, Ward 8, the average income was $26,000 in 2010. By 2020 or 2019, it had 31,000. It only improved 31,000. If you lived in Ward 3, which would include the Palisades and all that, they ended 2019 with $250,000 per household. When you look at Ward 7, starting back in 2010, it was 31,000. Guess how much we made by 2019? 36,000. So when we look at income and wealth building, and we talk about substances and substance use and health equity and education, these areas all are interrelated to us trying to address these areas that affect us the most. How does it look on the ground? On the ground, looking up, we have families in Ward 7 and 8 that live off of $10,000 a year, a family of 4. It costs technically $180,000, almost $80,000 to live here in the District of Columbia, but yet there are families that are surviving on that. So when we think about what families have to deal with, we look at the ACEs, or adverse childhood experiences, and the double ACEs, which also includes the community and the environments in which folks are living in. And we wonder why we have such high rates of chronic disease. These are all interrelated, but they're interrelated on the structural level. When systems are in place, and we have to address the systems in order to address the prime of children not being able to get their needs met, not living in safe environments, families that are constantly struggling. So when we look at ACEs, we look at extreme economic hardship. The last year that something was done, the child health data showed that in DC, over 23% of children lived in extreme economic hardship. We know this. Family disorder leading to divorce and separation. And by the way, I'm not talking about the traditional family, whatever that family might be. 15%. Those that live with someone who had an alcohol or drug problem, 6.9%. Those that have been victims of or witnesses to community violence, 16%. Those that live with someone with a mental illness, 7.5%. Witness domestic violence in the home, 8%. What these things do is they put all of our children at risk of being in a child welfare system again. And so over time, what we find ourselves in is in an area where we have to address extreme things. We never put, the District of Columbia has a $500 million right now. And all they have to do, if they really wanted to, was to address and I will share those data points. I have it on the slide. I do not mind sharing that out. All they would need to do is probably spend over 150 million, but we do this. We spend the money. We give people the money. But I say that we always end up not defining the target, and therefore our targets are always off. Our strategies are always wrong. Communities east of the river are getting equal the same amount of monies as the rest of the city, but the problem is in 7 and 8. So if you're trying to do equal, everybody gets everything. But equitable means that those with the greatest needs get the most money because the need is there. And that is it. So if you want me to give you a solution, make sure that on the lower level, if you want to really solve maybe the issue of opioids, we definitely need to make sure that everyone gets Narcan. That's across the board. But we also need to be able to ensure that more resources and certainly monies in that case also is put into the communities east of the river where the greatest problem is. And I'm not saying it means to take away from those communities on the other side, but the problem is east of the river. And if we're serious about it, we got to talk about it in terms of the basic family unit, family structure, things around that, and making sure that children and families are being protected, are safe, and are thriving. And it's not going to be just a one-shot deal. This has to go on continuously, but it's in the systems that we have to affect. And if you can't do the systems approach, then join an organization that does the groundwork, the grunt work, where things are being done. And yes, we have test strips, we have harm reduction, we have all of that. Those things do work immediately. They have an immediate impact on community. Narcan has an immediate impact on people's lives. But we did a lot last year, and still we are surpassing the number from 2020. Last year, the District of Columbia had 422 deaths. It's the highest ever recorded when it comes to opioid fatalities. In 2020, it was 411. Yes, it was higher than it's ever been. And it surpassed the gun violence. It surpassed gun violence, but it continues on no matter what. And so we have to really think about systems, and we have to think about basic needs as well. And it's the Maslow hierarchy of needs, as well as looking at those social determinants. And all of those things are interplay, and you can't do one without doing something to the other. So we have to hold our city governments and our federal levels, like these drug laws that have sorely impacted our lives, and the things that we can and cannot do and how we do it. We need to address those things, and those are all public health areas that everybody can do something about. Advocacy right now is budget time. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Green Lane. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we really appreciate. So let's go to our second poll, guys, and see what's going on and how we can move forward with solutions, education, hope, and solutions. So I'm going to launch the poll. And we're going to poll 2. That was awesome, Dr. Green Lane. Okay, here we go. Can everybody see that poll? Can y'all see the poll? Okay, there we go. Which level of self is most important to you? We have 10 choices. Please pick the best one that you feel. And we had to put all kinds of different ones like self-care, self-love, self-esteem, self-sabotage, self-supporting, self-determination, self-control, self-deception, self-motivated, self-made. And if everyone could participate, we got 42%, 45%. Okay. We got 60% right now of participation. Okay. And we're going to get real-time answers to what self is most important to you. 78%. And we're almost there. Okay. All right. 80%. That's all right. We still got people voting. Okay. 82%. I'll take it. How about that? Let's see what the winner is in the poll. Share the results. Now it looks like self-care. Which level of self is most important to you? Self-care. I can kind of agree with that, because if you don't know how to take care of yourself in a leadership position, you cannot help anyone with anything. It just doesn't work. You have to have that. Okay, we're going to go to our next speakers now. And I'm trying to, Miss Olivia, give me 1 second, 1 second. Okay, where is this? All right, Dr. Green. Okay, now I'm looking for Miss Anna Mabel Jones. Give me 1 second here. Stop sharing. And if you could send me a message in the chat, I can get to you faster. Are you there, Anna? I saw you. I can't get the spotlight off. Okay, hold on 1 second, guys. Anna. Okay, there you go. I see you. Let me see. If I can take you off of mute. Okay, we having difficulties here. Hold on one second. Let me find you, Miss Anna. I see you in the chat. Okay. Here we go. Let me try this and go to participants and Anna. Okay, Anna, I'm getting ready to unmute you. There you go.
I'm unmuted.
Please introduce yourself to everyone.
All right. First, I want to thank you, Miss Johnson, because you're doing a wonderful job, and this is just awesome. When you played that song this morning, "Fly Like an Eagle," it just brought so much joy to my heart, and I was like, okay, we are here. It is on. This is the place to be. So hello, everybody. My name is Anna Mabel Jones, and I'm a woman in long-term recovery. And what that means for me is I haven't picked up a drink or a drug since August 30th, 1999, right? And that is like a breath moment. It's something that I never believed, when I was out there, because I'm one of those people that just could not stop using. Would go in every time. You know how they tell us stories that it's going to get worse for you every time you come back in? Well, it did for me. I'm a native Washingtonian, and because of that, I'm here today, because of working on me. We just did something about self-care. And that's like one of my main things, because I never truly loved me. And honestly, I didn't know how to love me. I think I grew up feeling like I had to take care of everybody else except me, right? That was major. And I don't truly think I learned to really love myself until I got in recovery, right? I'm blessed, you all, because 6 months in recovery, I got hired to work at an organization called Oxford House, which is a organization that's been around since 1975. And we do recovery housing for people who are in recovery from substance use disorder. We started in Washington, D.C. So I think what saved my life is amazing that we're here talking about peers and what peers do, because it's peer to peer. I had to have women in my life, right? Women who were like ready to pull me up on my behavior. And I say that, and I say, because they didn't let me die. And I saw these women being happy and doing things, but their recovery was first, right? And I was like, wow, this is amazing, because I always pushed out, was like, I'm not like them, I'm different, because I didn't want to talk about me or what was really going on with me, which is part of Anna not wanting to take care of herself, because she can take care of everybody else and she can hold so much inside, right? Until she just blows up. So I was her. But I think that truly saved me, being around people who were going through things just like I was going through, and just hearing how they got through it. So one of my main things today as a woman in long-term recovery is nothing for us without us, okay? Nothing for us without us, right? So I remember, even growing up, my sisters telling me when I went away to college that, all about what I should major in and all of that stuff. And I look at it today, and I look at it and I'm like, they had never even been to college. So how would you expect someone to tell you something that they hadn't experienced? And just a quick little story. So just looking at things and being like, wow, I was always that way, wanting to do something what someone else would do, instead of being like standing strong in mine and being like, yeah, or standing strong in my no. I was such wanting to please everybody and not caring how it made me feel. Thank goodness it's not that way today through recovery. So through my process and through my journey, of course, today I am a certified peer recovery specialist locally, but also nationally, right? So that, even in taking this journey, I can take it from any state that I want to go to. So I went on the national journey to get my peer certification, right? And I can say this to you, coming out of my addiction started crazily my second year coming out of college. And again, it was because I didn't know how to deal with grief. So I went away to North Carolina, and it was like I was away from people telling me what to do. And I just went buck wild, right? And that was back in the crack epidemic. So I really came back, never went back to school. My whole life just went for a downward spiral. I can truly say that from 1989 on to 1999. So I stayed out there for like 10 years, back and forth, till I surrendered. Today, I thought, and again, remember I said I never thought I'd be here today because it wasn't about me. It was always taking care of someone else. So today, in learning to love Anna, I'm a homeowner. I have a car. I'm married for the second time. The first time was very creepy. You know, it was about him saving me because I always wanted somebody to save me, right? Not knowing that I had to save myself, right? Love myself, kiss myself, learn to, you know, be within, you know, Anna, facing things, right? So I'm learning, I'm also a CCEP, which is a core energetics practitioner, right? So I've gotten into all this holistic stuff today. I'm a Reiki master. So anything that's going to take me from out of my head and into my body so I can truly feel and really be grounded is where I'm at today, you know, and it has totally changed my life. You know, I meditate every day. You know, I get into this zone that really takes me to another place, but it grounds me and it keeps me focused to really know what's happening with me. So I say that to say, I never thought I'd go back to school, right? But I ended up in this process going back to school. And I was like, well, I want to be a counselor. I want to be an addictions counselor, and thinking that I didn't know what God had planned for me. But I ended up going back and becoming a psychotherapist through the core energetics process to really work with somatic work and working in the body and the holistic healing process because it's deeper for me. I'm one of those people who deals with ADHD, right? So I'm like active, you know, so I'm all over the place. And most of you all who know me is like, wow, okay, Hannah, tone it down, right? But that's just me. I've accepted that, you know, and I love it. But I also know how to, you know, do some breath work. And I'm going to ask you all to do something really quick with me just to feel into grounding and to know how important it is to self-care, love yourself. And you can just do this and really be in the grips of yourself. So if you can put one hand on your heart, right? And then put one hand on your stomach for me, right? Close your eyes and just feel your heartbeat. And if you're anywhere, let your feet be touching the ground. And just feel into that. But also in feeling into that, see, can you feel a breath? You know? Just see if you can feel a breath. Now let's just take a deep breath. And then open your eyes. So something just as simple as that is just filling your heart, right? Showing your heart some love, filling your stomach, which can be the tightest place because that's the place we hold a lot of fear and things like that, right? I can remember not even wanting to touch myself. I was like, what is up with that? And I remember being in the grips, and my sister, she just couldn't believe it. She was like, Anna, we expected so much from you. Oh my God, just love yourself, kiss yourself. See, I kiss myself, right? And I was looked at it and I was like, what's that about? But today I can truly do that. I can hug myself. I can, you know, feel myself. I can say, hey, everything's going to be okay. And I can really breathe and say it's going to be okay. Because sometimes, you know, we do the work that nobody would think to do, right?
That's right.
We really do. And we need to be in the grips of like knowing that self-care is first, right? Even if it's just going to YouTube, right? To listen to a scan meditation, to scan your body. But it's all about being grounded, because if we don't show up loving ourselves, people see that right away, right? People see if we don't care. People know if we're just doing it just to do it. And I don't want to be that way, you know, in the world today. You don't want to show up authentic. I want to be vulnerable. I want to laugh. I want to say, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, and I want to be able to say, oh, I don't know, or show me how to do that. I don't want to be that person that thinks I know everything or I got this. Never do I want to be that kind of person. So I'm just truly honored to be here today, and just honored to be on this panel with so many people that I know that do the work. I mean, you know, Dr. Noor, Jonathan, Khalil, getting excited to hear the other speaker, but just the powerfulness and to know the greatness that these people do, and just the greatness of Miss Johnson bringing us together on this. This is powerful. I just want to, my aspect of this is the holistic part, and the part of us really connecting to ourselves so that we can connect to other people, right? And then connecting to each other. You know, that's what we're here for, to connect. You know, some things that we're doing in DC may be different than, I'm seeing somebody that's on this call from Montana, right? So let's connect. Let's see what's working, you know, there, because it might not work here, but it might work there. And we need to connect in those ways, because we know it's not about us. Most of the time, it's about helping that person that needs help, whether it's harm reduction, you know, treatment, any of those things. We're there for that. We're peers. We do all of that. We do reentry. It's just so many things that we do, and we need to connect more, because it's all about healing. It's all about healing for me. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing, and I just want to thank you all for showing up, and I hope that you got something out of what I shared. So thanks for letting me share.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. That was awesome. And our next speaker is Mr. Doug Brinker. And Doug, I'm getting ready to unmute you. Anna, that was awesome. That was awesome. Now, okay, I think you're ready, Doug. Are you ready? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Can you see me?
All right. And tell everybody who you are, Doug.
Well, believe it or not, I'm one who obtained his master's degree during the pandemic at 57 years old from Eastern Michigan University in communication. I once was a shy introvert, bullied for the first 19 years of my life in various forms, including the US Navy, but no more. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow peers, fellow hope givers, close your eyes. Let me take you on a journey. Take you on a journey back to when I was just 8 years old and placed in a children's home. And in that 5 years, I spent many years being bullied, nearly drowned at 10 years old in the pool. You may open your eyes. Moving around to 5 different school districts, not having identity, not having any feeling of real hope. And so I found myself lost, wondering why. Do I belong in this country, in this world? What's wrong with me? Why am I not right? I went into the US Navy right out of high school because I was told by counselors at Eastern Michigan University that my success rate would be less than 10% the first semester because I didn't take any college prep classes. So I went in the Navy. And to all of our comrades out there, if you're a Vietnam vet, thank you and welcome home. Because of you, I served. And I spent the first 3 years of my life driving a Navy vessel around the world. Still not finding my true identity. Being bullied from time to time. Maybe some of you can relate to those early years. Perhaps a few of you can relate to right now. I got out of the Navy, came back to Jackson, Michigan, USA, where I started a boring life, working from job to job, having relations with different females, not finding my true identity still. August 7th, 1999. After numerous times of being bullied, after numerous times of not feeling like I belong and fitting in, I entered a bar and I sat back in the corner. And for 4.5 hours, I contemplated, why am I still here? I don't matter. Jobs don't want me. Relationships don't want me. Why? Where's the hope in all of this? Where's any kind of solution of feeling like I belong? So in the wee hours of that August 7th, 1999, I made my first attempt to end my life. Those that know the reality of this story know the pain. Know the pain of the emergency room. Know the pain of the liquid charcoal. For 3.5 weeks, I was hospitalized. For 3.5 weeks, still numb and hopeless. Here's where the change occurred. I started receiving mental health therapy services here in Jackson for Lifeway's Community Mental Health. There's more to this story as it continues. I did not follow treatment plans. I did not follow medication prescription plans. In February of 2001, another attempt. This time, I had to do something different with my life. I had to discipline myself. October, of 2002, I re-entered the Michigan Army National Guard. Volunteered for Iraq in 2004 and deployed and received a deadly staph infection on Memorial Day 2004 and was medevaced back to the United States, where I spent 4.5 months in medical hold in Fort Knox, Kentucky, and medically retired for November 2004, where once again, I came home. But this time it was different. This time I started to see I had purpose. I had meaning in my life for other people. And in 2006, under the Vocational Rehabilitation Program, the Department of Veteran Affairs paid for my schooling to begin my associate's program at 43 years of age. I continued on, working my way back to Eastern Michigan University in 2009 for my bachelor's work in marketing and communication. Another twist happened. December 2014, Mom took ill. And in July of 2015, Mom passed away. So I took a hardship to finish my master's until September of 2019. Fast forward to that earlier story. I now carry my master's from the very same school that told me in 1981 that my likelihood of success would not turn out. I proved a university wrong. I proved all the naysayers that just because I didn't obtain college prep classes, that the determination and my destination were in God's hands. And it's because of the grace of God, now this I consider 8 lives given to me. Now I work as a state certified peer support for Lifeway's community mental health. The very same agency that in 1999 treated me for my mental health challenges. Why do I say all of this? I say all of this because God has opened so many doors. Just 2 years ago, I was invited by our CEO to Lansing, Michigan to present with her. Just 5 years ago, this September, I publicly opened up and shared my recovery story to my community because I hid it for so long. But it's because of each of people like yourselves, people who are hope influencers and solution solvers, that I continue to do this work. Now, 4.5 years into my work at Lifeways, God's given me the opportunity to serve the Department of Michigan Veterans of Foreign Wars as the mental health director. I now am the founder of Beacon for Hope, LLC, Suicide Prevention and Speaking. I have written a book waiting to be published on the 22 chapters that represent 22 veterans who surrendered their life by suicide each and every day. In closing, this is for the ones who struggle right now, the ones sitting maybe on this call, or the ones that will watch this replay. This is for the ones who have been having a rough day, a rough week, a rough year. These are the ones who feel like the storm will never end. Keep fighting for you, not for your friends, not for your family, but for you. Hold a tiny voice that knows you are meant for more than sadness, more than pain. Keep fighting because the person you will be on the other side of all of this is cheering for you. Keep fighting because you will get there, and it is worth it. I am honored because God has given me so many golden door opportunities to share messages of hope, to intercept my fellow veterans who are contemplating taking their life. But more importantly, I have a United States Marine in Camp Lejeune right now that knows at any point, at any time of the day or night, my phone is on because I am a H.O.P.E influencer. Ms. Johnson, an honor. I am humbled at your invitation, and this has been one of the greatest opportunities to share on the platform with you.
Thank you. Everybody, let's give Doug a round of applause. Because see, people don't understand the challenges that we go through as peer support workers and what we have to do to get here. And we're going to talk more about that. Thank you so much, Doug. Next, we're going to do our third poll. Let's do our third poll. And as we were saying, we would like everybody to participate. And I'm getting ready to launch it now. Okay, the third poll says, which areas of the workforce is peer support needed the most? Which area of the workforce is peer support needed the most? We have hospital emergency rooms, we have educational systems, schools, crisis intervention, behavioral health, correctional facilities, shelters, government, politics, outreach, and peer-run centers. So that's y'all voting on this one. Okay. We got 32%. Oh, this one is going to run very close, very close, very, very close. Which area of the workforce is peer support needed the most? Okay, we're almost there. Almost there. We're almost at 75%. Oh, y'all are really participating with this. Thank you so much. Okay, I'll take 78. 78% have answered, and let's end this poll and show the results. Again, it looks like behavior, recovery, and mental health peers are most needed the most. That's very interesting. We even had votes for government and politics, outreach and community workers ran close, and crisis intervention. And then we have some who feel like hospitals and emergency rooms as well. So thank you so much for voting. All right, next we have our third presentation. And that is Mr. or Dr. Bay. And Dr. Bay, if you could give me the honor to go first, and I would like for you to go next. Is that okay with you? Can you send me something in the chat? Okay, because I would like to address what everybody has been talking about so far. Okay? And that is, I'm coming with solutions. Well, could you turn your camera off for a minute? And I think it'll take you off a spotlight. Awesome. And let's see, I don't know if I can do focus on myself. Okay. Can we do focus? I'm not sure, but I'm not even gonna go there. All right. Good evening. My name is Rhonda L. Johnson. I am a certified peer specialist, a CCAR recovery coach, a former Washington, D.C. Department of Health peer lay leader, and one of the original Washington, D.C. Ward 8 Neighborhood Family Champions for the Early Childhood Innovative Network, ESIN, and Far Southeast Family Strengthening Collaborative. And before I broke my ankle into 3 pieces, I was a part of the Washington, D.C. Rapid Peer Responder Team that distributed Narcan and provided harm reduction, resources, and referrals for medication-assisted treatment during the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm a member of the U.S. Attorney Office of the District of Columbia Heroin and Opiate Working Group. And in 2019, I was appointed to the Washington, D.C. Mayor's Opiate Fatality Review Board. And in 2021, I became a member of the Washington, D.C. Department of Behavioral Health Integrational Stakeholder Advisory Group. I'm an author of 4 published books that share education, hope, and solutions for co-occurring disorders that move beyond inpatient and outpatient treatment care to sustainability, living a normal life beyond addictions and mental health for children and adults. My books begin the uncomfortable conversations regarding the affects and effects of co-occurring disorders. And they bring a different perspective, how society must explore trauma-informed centers, as well as family inpatient and outpatient treatment centers and programs for children born addicted to drugs, and for families who live in environments of chaos and economic depression. All my books encourage the readers that there is hope and you are not alone. My driving force to become a peer began when I received the right diagnosis for my behavioral health disorders. See, society wanted to put me in a box as an addict, not ever understanding that I had challenges of depression since I was 8 years old. And when I lost my mommy, who was 55 years old, and I lost my daddy, who was 57 years old, they were married for almost 40 years. I almost lost my mind. But society wanted to tell me I was just an addict. But nobody understood the depression that I was facing. I was married, I had 3 teenage children, but I lost my parents who provided me love, and they were gone. So I didn't care anymore. Drugs and depression became my best friends until I received that diagnosis, that co-occurring disorders, and my life began to change. I wanted to live. And mostly everybody on this this meeting, and those who are not able to get in, want to live. But society want to put us as just addicts or mental health patients. This is why I wanted to become a peer, to help others who do not understand that addiction and mental health disorders must be treated together in order for people to get their life back. As a peer, I wanted to help others who do not understand what co-occurring disorders are and how they mimic and mask each other. You can't tell me that I'm not, because I'm depressed and I'm doing drugs, which one is greater? But we need to learn, and we need to put more emphasis on what are co-occurring disorders. I wanted to bring education and hope and solutions as a peer to others that never give up. There's hope and treatment out there. As a peer, I wanted to share, you are not alone. So what is a peer, and why is the peer workforce important and valuable? A peer. To many, a peer is a change agent of hope, a subject matter expert, an advocate, a coach, a leader, a navigator, an advisor, or a survivor of circumstances who has been chosen because their life stories and storms. Most peers are unique and are from all walks of life, professions, gender, age, and or cultures. Peers share a common trait, and that is empathy. Everybody on this, if you don't have empathy, you're not, you can't help those in the community because you don't seem to understand. A peer is a person who has moved forward with understanding that a negative mind will never give a positive life. That through the tests and trials of life, the peer understands that self-doubt destroys more dreams than failure. A peer is not just a person in recovery or just a mental health client or a person who is stuck or trapped in their emotional, physical, mental, or social abuse. A peer is that person with resiliency tools who has the capability to think outside the box with a better understanding in regards to what works, what did not work, and knowledge that what will work to get the job done. A peer is an advocate for hope that will move beyond excuses to help the next person to endure what they have went through. And that is why the importance of this Peer Solution Leadership Summit. If we can share, as Anna was saying, we need a network. The peer is a hard worker who is dedicated to working because they're trying to provide for their families, making up for the lost time that drugs and behavioral health disorders stole away from them. Yet, one must understand the level of the peer workforce. We are peer leaders. We are peer advocates. We are peer advisors, peer navigators, peer influencers, certified peer specialists, peer coaches, and rapid peer responders. And the list goes on and on. Society must understand a peer is not just a person in recovery or just a mental health client or a person who is stuck or trapped. A peer is a person with resiliency tools. The time has arrived that there must be a peer workforce of peer professionals. And I hope everybody on this meeting today, this summit, understand we are a workforce and we need to develop a value and measuring system that entails crisis management, empathy training, problem solving, critical thinking, stigma awareness, conceptual change, and let's talk about the invisible disabilities. A peer workforce must create a quantitative and qualitative database as it relates to the community they serve, that they address the social, cultural, biomedical, and neurasthenia thought process for the peer leaders to survive and thrive. The peer workforce must have in place an evaluation system that monitors the peer workers as it relates to occupation fatigue, as well as our safety in the level of the communities that we serve. This is to ensure that the peers not only in crisis positions. You have seen from some of the peers so far, we are more than crisis workers. We can get the job done in leadership positions as well. We are more than crisis and trauma-informed workers, because with some of those positions, for the people who are not strong enough, they can relax. They can go back into a trauma position. You put them back in their neighborhood and they can go relapse to their old ways. So we need to be incorporated in leadership positions as well. The peer workforce must embrace the methods of psychoeducation. I want everybody to do your homework. Psychoeducation, what does that mean? And psychointervention as the new integrative concept for the tool peer professional that targets the various populations before the crisis began, during the crisis, and after the crisis. That's what we peers do. The peer workforce should develop a peer professional, a network of peer professionals to engage from city to city and state to state or town to town with real-time data to help the peer population that we serve. When it comes to salaries, we're not just volunteer workers. See, we're not on drugs today. We're not lost in our depression. The peer force worker probably stays in training, certification programs, meetings, summits, more than the average professional. A lot of peers have certifications that you would not believe. A lot of peers, and you've seen so far, have college degrees. So when you want the peers to be the best that we can be, pay us. Put us in a salary where we can get paid to do the work. The peer workforce is not in competition with the authorities. We know we have supervisors and that there are board leaders and, we follow the rules, but, or should I say, however, we are leaders too, and we just want respect for our knowledge, our lived experience, and that what we can bring to the community. I wanted to share something with you guys before I go to my conclusion. A Dr. Sis Ledbetter, who used to work with the District of Columbia, She posed a question to Dr. Bay, who's the next speaker after me. And she asked this question, and this is the question I want everybody to think about from today on. What do you do with the person who has begun their addiction or now suffers with anxiety, depression, or abuse since the coronavirus? And most importantly, how do you reach those who suffer in silence, who work in government jobs, who are, because of their position, they can't share that they suffering with addiction, mental health, or any other issues that the peer support person can share? This is where we become valuable. We can share our stories of hope. Now, there's always hope. I would like to acknowledge the team of educators when I began my journey as a certified peer specialist in 2013 at the Washington, D.C. Department of Health, who saw my leadership quality. Adrian Lightfoot, Racine Milan, Angela Moss Baker, Brenda Samuels. I want to thank Vivi Smith, the past director, who saw that I had leadership qualities, and she was like, okay, go do what you got to do. And I'd like to thank the former director, Raphael Richardson, Terry Harrison, and Mr. Darrell Powell for their help. We did a DC Walk for Recovery on the National Mall, and their mentorship, they mentored me so that it would be a success. I'd like to thank the director, Dr. Bazaran, who's the current director of behavioral health. But I would like to make a special announcement to Miss Janice Mama Joe Patterson. She's the CEO of Parent Watch and a co-creator for EASN, Early Childhood Innovator. And Mama Joe has been a peer leader, a peer advocate, a peer advisor, a peer mom for over 30 years. She has been a peer who educates others to understanding of the intellectual, institutional learned privileges that are affecting the peers from moving forward. And I also would like to thank my children. If it wasn't for their love and support when I was lost to addiction and depression and despair and suicide, because I suffered since I was 8 years old with suicidal ideation. And my children, Jeffrey, Jamar, and Jasmine, Nathan, Brandy, they took it all, but they didn't leave me. And like I told Dr. Ledbetter, just because a person is lost to addiction and mental health, that doesn't mean you give up on them. You love them from a distance, but don't give up on them. Look at who's on this panel. Look who's here today. If people would have gave up on us, we wouldn't be here. So just because a person is going through those things does not mean you can't love them from a distance. Love them from a distance. But if they really hurting, give them a couple of dollars when they see you, not, them begging, but you never know, that dollar might save them from going out to rob or kill somebody because they're hurting and they're stuck in this thing. So we need to understand the power of love. And my children gave that to me. And they also gave me 11, and my new babies coming, grandchildren, they call me Gigi because I'm gorgeous grandma. So I want to thank them too. I want to thank my family, my Bam Bam, and all of those who understand that love is the key. And I want to thank those also who were friends of Mary, my dual personality. I want you to also think about this too. A peer is not a person in recovery or just a mental health person or who's stuck and trapped in their addiction. A peer is a person with resiliency. And before you judge them, please ask yourself, what's in my closet? Thank you all very much. All right, we have our next speaker presenter, Dr. Bay. Can you hear me? Okay, let me try to unmute you again. There we go, let's try that.
Now I can hear you and you probably can hear me.
Hey!
First, I want to thank you, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you being one of the people, if not the person, to put this together, because it is needed. It is needed in so many different ways. Uh, I'm Dr. Al Mustafa Al Khalil Bey. Most people that know me call me either Khalil, Dr. Bey, Bible Bey, a few other names. I I wrote a bio, but see, I'm long-winded, and the last time I turned in a bio, they didn't even read it all, and I felt really some way about that because I said I've done all of this work, and they didn't even take the time to totally read the bio. So this time I didn't write it as long, but I'm gonna read some of what's on it because I am a person in long-term recovery. And what that means to me, and I'm speaking from personal and professional experience, is I used drugs. I shot dope, drank wine, everything that you possibly can think of in the process of 25 years of active addiction. I have 50 years experience in the helping profession. I have my MSW from University of Maryland, my bachelor's from Sojourner Douglas. I have a doctorate from Bishop's Institute and a doctorate from the Association of Christian Alcohol and Drug Addiction Counselors. Those doctorates are all in counseling. I'm a licensed professional counselor, a certified addiction specialist, a master's addiction specialist. So I have more letters behind my name than I have in my name. And a lot of those is because I didn't have the appropriate guidance on what to do and how to do it. So I just studied a little bit of everything. I am also a Reiki practitioner, master teacher, and a breathologist. I have had the opportunity to work with Baltimore County developing the first fatherhood program. I've had the opportunity to work within Baltimore City with the team that developed the first SRO for men in recovery. Presently, I am working as a clinical director at Safe Haven, and right now we're in renovation. That's a 3.5 addictions ASM program. I also am a behavioral health specialist at Rebound Health and Wellness in Northeast District. I also am the clinical and president director of continuing education programs, Life Solutions. I also sit on the Maryland board, the IC and RC Maryland District Board, as the chairperson and the educational chairperson for that particular agency. I guess if I read all of this, then I would probably get caught up in it too. But I'm gonna tell you a little bit about me and then tell you what I see as solution orientation. As I said, I am a person in long-term recovery. I started walking under the influence of alcohol. By the age of 14, I was shooting heroin mainline. I grew up in Baltimore City, and I was miseducated in the Baltimore public school system. And I have a history of having been chased by police and called the N-word for a lot of years. I remember in the school system, I didn't get taught things that gave me positive self-esteem. In fact, most of the pictures that I was able to see in any of the history books made me look like a buffoon and a clown. These are not the fault, but all of it contributed to my identification of myself, which I didn't like a whole lot at that point. It wasn't until like I had my first children that I really wanted to do something different. By the way, I'm the father of 4 beautiful daughters and grandfather to 6 beautiful grandchildren. All of them are doing quite well because I've learned how to use education as a means of recovery. Let me share this. The governmental systems that we work through and within, they're doing a lot of work. They're left to address the problems, but they often put band-aids on the problem instead of really addressing the problem. So we look at symptomology, but we don't look at cause. When I look at myself, I realize that I was never taught self-care in the public school systems, although, you know, I was taught some at the home, but my parents also came out of different public school systems and didn't learn it themselves. So when I look at one of the government's responsibilities, it is education. And I'm not a person that see spirituality, mental health as separate things. I see them as the same thing. I believe that an educational system should be designed that would include both. And I'm not talking religion, I'm talking spiritual. I'm talking when I understand that I have a mental health problem, that I had the mental health problem before I started using any drugs, because if I felt really okay about myself, I wouldn't need the drug to make me feel good, better, or different. So the drug was an initial solution. And by the time I realized it was a problem, I was caught in it. I was caught in it to the degree that the Agnew administration, I know I probably look a little bit young, but the Agnew administration told me that I wouldn't live to be 20 years old. But they also didn't give me any help. They didn't support me in learning how to reprogram my thinking, which I think is one of the things that in education and mental health that we need to start looking at. We need to start looking at the same way that the classical conditioning and operant conditioning, we use those things to program others. We need to start using those things to learn how to reprogram and program ourselves. And which is one of the designs that I have been working on, is to making sure that we do that. Mental health is a family disorder. It's not an individual thing. Each individual affects at least 3 people in at least 3 generations. Those 3 individuals around us, and at least the generation that you're in, the generation over top you, and the generation that you're producing. Education and mental health can help to educate those conditions. Presently, none of my children are using drugs, because the same methods that I talk about in educating are the same methods I use for my children. And I have to say that they're doing pretty good. Of course, most of the time you always want your children to do more, but I am so proud of them because none of them are caught in the system, in the drug-orientated system that I grew up in. Now, I'm also working on a book. The book is The Decolonization of the Addicted Mind. It's a book that looks at reprogramming, studying the mind and how the mind works, but reprogramming us to understand that we are the masters of our thinking. I watch the media and I see how in the music and how we have been programmed. I mean, let me give you an example. If I start off with Mary had a little, you know what the next word is, or I'd say the Jack and Jill, you'll know how to end those phrases because we have been programmed with those phrases most of our life in elementary school. The mind that never forgets anything. If we train the mind in such a way that the right prompts come up, we'll know how to correct our thinking in such a way that we can help ourselves to heal and heal our communities. And as I consistently develop these programs, it's very challenging when I live in a government, in a system that I want to be a real patriot to, but it doesn't look at me as though I'm a man. And those things get to be real, real challenging for me. I'm talking about racism, and I don't have to go into that. We know that we live in a pretty much a racist society, even though racism is not individual. Racism is not individual. Racism about the system that facilitates it. So in saying all of that, I want us to work closer together as a community, as a network, to have the discussions on what we need to do next, to make sure that we provide the resources in our communities with peers and professionals so we can get to that ground level, get to that root level for those people that need to hear the messages. Go in our communities, do those community outreach groups and educate the families that we can get to. There's a whole system that we haven't even looked at doing as far as education. Good, better, best, never let it rest till your good is better and your better is best. If excellence is possible, good is not enough. Thank you.
All right, Dr. Bay. All right. That was awesome. That was amazing. And I'm so glad that you guys are still hanging there with us. We're about to do our last poll for the evening. I'm getting ready to launch it. And it is, what is your profession or work position? Those who are on the in the summit, what is your work position? And if it's other, they didn't have a space for it. So we'd like to know who's here at the summit. Okay, y'all voting too. Thank you so much. It really means a lot for the participation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are at 70-something%. That is amazing. That is awesome, and I appreciate that. Okay, we have 78. I think that's good. Oh, one more. Somebody just voted. All right, let's check and see who's here with us this evening. All right, we have 70% who are peer specialists, advocates, and or recovery coaches. We have some medical behavior, some nonprofit outreach workers, and we have some government and private attendees. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for joining us for the first Peer Solution Leadership Summit. And please leave your thoughts in the chat, because you can download it, and we're going to see if you have questions and you're trying to reach somebody, put it in the chat and we're going to try to get to it. Our next and last presenter is my friend, mentor, and spiritual advisor. His name is Reverend Dr. Mark Hayes. And Dr. Hayes, I'm getting ready to unmute you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you, and thank you so very, very much. I have richly been enjoying everything that I have heard. The haves have more, the have-nots have not at all. The must-haves are now relegated to the will-be's, and the would-have been simply won't be. First of all, to you, Ms. Johnson, I want to thank you for an opportunity, just for a little while, because I've been enjoying the journey. I enjoy it because I'm anticipating the destination. When we talk about this and that, I was born in a place called Brooklyn, New York. And in Brooklyn, New York, I went to parochial school, and then my mother placed me in a school to integrate under a racist UFT president. You can look him up, Albert Schenker. But what I learned in the midst of that, and I want to stay where you are because there is lifting for all of us. To you, individuals, it's not about anything else but the LOVE. Leadership is intangible, and therefore no weapon ever designed can replace it. This is a summit. And a summit means that we haven't arrived at the top. We're almost there. So I want you to take the summit, listening to round this up. We are souls united, making miracles in transformation. Souls united. It's not just solution, it's a solution. There is a continual need for the universal God creator, not to take from anyone else. I don't deal with religion because what's in my soul? We have to have a model for inner standing, not understanding. We have to know that the word disease is a dis-ease. Because when it came up, there was an issue. Every single day, I'm blessed to work with young people, older persons. I serve using my gift. The gift will make room for you. And because of the lateness of this hour, I just want to give you, my brothers and my sisters, and I go back to this. Sister Johnson, don't miss it. We are souls united, making miracles in transformation. We have to know what we want in life. We have to be willing to take responsibility. We have to be willing to make necessary changes. And we have to be willing to make necessary sacrifices. Always be committed to self-advancement. Work continually and constantly on your game plan. But you have to know the rules to the game. First of all, we don't disrespect. Second of all, we have to work in a collaborative way together to be visible in the reality of our community. Because what is it? We are drawn together by hope. Now, when we take a look at that, and I'm about through because, again, as I look at the hour, we're just going to draw this thing together. Embrace your opportunities for growth and development. And I go back to enjoy the journey while you anticipate your destination. What's your next destination? Not your destiny. You're going to move into that next workplace. And always practice helping others along the way. The stories that we've heard tonight, very transparent. We didn't have to share those stories. It's not my time to share mine, but when it comes my time to share it, I'll let you know with the foundation that I had. I've had some challenges myself. So again, solicit the support of others. It's some marvelous work that the peer people do. I'm used to it. I do psychoeducation, all of that. That's fine. I embrace that. But I always want you to know this. Seek divine. Seek divine guidance. Seek it. Seek it. And what are we going to do? Well, we're going to remain encouraged. I want you to know this is the first, but it's not the last. I want you to know that because you had it in your mind, it was really in your heart. The continual need for God's grace and his power at work in all of us to believe that it can be done is happening right now. So, the uplifting, the awareness of your purpose, the esoteric, that's just on the inside of the understanding, that the esoteric work so that the exoteric on the outside won't mess with you. That's what I have for you tonight. My name is Mark Julius Hayes. I am the son of the late Rebecca Jane Latimer Hayes and Henry Hayes. And I come to you reflectively tonight to say thank you. Enjoy your journey. Stay aware. Keep respect, integrity, and dignity up. Remember, we are souls united, making miracles in transformation. That's all that I have for you. That's all I have for you. So wherever you are right now, know it. That's what it is. And by the way, I'm in Virginia. I'm not up that way, but I know how to come up that way. I thank God for technology. Sister Johnson, you've had me sitting right here since 6 o'clock. I came in, rushed. I said, I don't want to miss this. There's some power with this thing. Don't get me started because I feel something going on even right now. Because you know what? Don't get on the ship. Get in the ship. See, when you get on the ship, you're on it, but you're not in it. Whenever you're in a ship, no matter where they place you with what you have to do, you can work it out. Get in the ship. We're souls united, making miracles in transformation.
Woo, woo, woo. You know, sometimes you just need that extra, and that was that extra. And thank you, Dr. Reverend Hayes. That was awesome. That was awesome. I wanted to share with you all that we have a swag bag, electronic swag bag, and for all the registered attendees, you will receive the swag bag gift for as our token of appreciation for being here today. I'm just excited. We are on time. It's 8:10. And I have one more thing that I like to share with you as we about to leave. And I'm just grateful. I'm thankful to all of you for hanging out with us today. As far as the peer workforce movement, we are worthy and we are capable. We're more than our recovery. We're more than our mental health. We have resiliency tools. Thank you all so much for being here today. If I can find what I'm looking for, give me 1 second as we go to a close. Please go to the link. I think I put it in the chat for your electronic swag bag in there. My fourth book is, I put it in the ebook form for everyone. It's the Hope Influencer Diary. And there you can write down your thoughts and how we can move forward as far as helping others move forward. Okay, I'm not going to be able to find it at the moment, but Dr. Hayes, would you like to, it is a guest that I would like to acknowledge, Miss Johnson, Bakisa Johnson. I'm not sure if you want to speak or not. That's my sister, and she always supports me with everything that I do. And Miss Johnson, would you like to say something? I can unmute you. Let's see if I can unmute you. Okay, Miss Johnson, would you like to say something?
Yes, thank you so much. This has been absolutely wonderful. I have learned a few more things. I've gotten a better appreciation, and I understand a little bit more. Because again, I think unless you're on that journey, unless that's been your course of action, you can never understand. You can, as you say, just hopefully let love shine, win, and rule. And so thank you all so much. Thank you for all the presenters. Thank you for the mini sermonette, Mr. Reverend Dr. Mark Julius Hayes. I appreciate, my soul appreciates that. And so to you, Miss Rhonda Johnson, great job. I think you did wonderful. This is, I'm excited, the first of many, and I'm looking forward to being a part of the next one. So thank you so much. And I love you to pieces, Pumpkin.
Thank you. I tell you, my sister always support me. It's one more person I would like to that speak. Miss Jamie, can you give me a second? I'm gonna put you in the participant. She wants to say something, and she asked, so let's see. I got you. Hold on. Yep, I got you, and asked to unmute. Okay, we're ready. Go forward. Please introduce yourself and tell us where you're from.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Jamie and Farrell. I'm from California. Sunny skies. I just wanted to say hi to all. I wanted to speak up for one reason. There's a lot of us in the marginalized community. As an Asian person, they are not represented because we have always like events and programs that support, Black lives and etc. I'm just trying to bring another brushstroke to you and the team. Maybe, if you do events like that, maybe there could be a segue or a niche that we can actually ask for those who are marginalized and underserved and unserved, who don't have a voice. Because of linguistic and cultural stigma, they don't come approach easy to be able to like what I'm doing here. Most of us get silenced as a young person because of our, I think this is something that's through the subservient culture I'm from. So I'm speaking today because I'm hoping that we can find more ways to collaborate together to bring about community, common platforms, things that we are human, we go to recovery in regardless of the medical side or recovery model. That doesn't discriminate, I find that humans like to silo us away because we don't speak loud enough to have our voice heard. So I always say 1 is a whisper, 2 is a conversation. 5 of us, we have a conference, right? So, and today we have a voice. So I'm hoping that we can do something, and if you have something going on next month, I'll be glad to collaborate with you because there's a lot of need, a lot of things we want to make sure they're represented with our different intersectionalities. It's not about 5 boxes on the demographic form because I've been attacked before under Asian race crime. And I don't want it to be a way that like, this is the only way. Can we come together as one to find something that is actually real? Recovery, peer? What would actually help to hold the conversation, Ms. Johnson? What would bring us together, I'm asking, all our leaders here? If we can think alike, give a path so that we can all have a purpose and objective to follow. Thank you. Sorry, I spoke too much.
No, that was awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And it's voices that we appreciate that. Thank you so very much. Whereas 817, and there's one more person I wanted to acknowledge, and that's Miss Adrienne Lightfoot. If you'd like to speak, she has been a mentor to me. I mean, she told me first and foremost, she told me first I was her crybaby because I've always been a crybaby. But for Adrienne, she saw and she said you weren't ready. And it takes a person to see a person a long term. And Adrienne, I'm going to give you the opportunity, if you would like to speak, to share before this conference is over.
Love, you unmuted the wrong Adrienne.
Well, hello, Lynn. Why don't you tell them something too? That's my sister, y'all. We got a history. That's my sister for real.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Adrienne Gaskins. I am a person in long-time recovery. In about a couple of months, I will be acknowledging 14 years of recovery. I can thoroughly say I enjoyed this side of life. And I have definitely faced life on life's terms with many challenges. And I just want you to know that I did arise to the occasion. I wasn't mad about it because normally I would be mad about it. I'll turn inward, hold resentments, but I have not. And it's a wonderful thing. I am nationally certified as a peer specialist and a recovery coach, but currently I do not work in the field. And that's all I have. And this was a very powerful event, Ms. Johnson. Good to see everyone and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm going to hit the other Miss Adrian. I'm going to unmute you. And Adrian, if you would like to say something. Wait a minute. Okay, Adrian. Oh, wrong one.
So I am so proud of you. Anybody that knows you, I'm sure you shared your history. I saw something in you that you did not see in yourself. I told you would come to this point. You know, I turned her down for a couple of different things. She did everything I told her to do, and she kept coming back. I love you. I appreciate you. And I am so proud of the work that you do because I can't do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adrian. I really appreciate. Mr. Elijah Webb, is there something that you would like to share with us? I'm going to unmute you. It's 8:19. I got to find your name. And I would like, if you want to speak, Elijah, hold on, let me. Okay, Mr. Webb. Okay, ask to unmute. And okay.
Hey everybody, my name is Elijah Webb. I'm a person in long-term recovery. I don't know if I raised my hand or you just called on me.
No, I just called on.
Holy smokes. So it's great to be here. It's great to hear everybody excited about the field. I got to be real with you. I worked at a treatment center for the last year and a half and as a peer. And I got the opportunity to be part of an interdisciplinary treatment team, which was awesome, and take over groups for licensed clinicians and professionals and do all the fun stuff. But it was a pandemic. I did make minimum wage and I did work over 40 hours a week and was never considered as a full-time employee. I think we're coming up, but it's going to take some time. We're going to have to work our way into this system, which is, it's systemic in nature that we need to get education, but also this lived experience is, you can't go to school for that. So I feel great about the field, but it's also driven me back to school. So I'm in two different places. I want to be in the field, but I also see the need for us to advocate for ourselves and what we bring to the community. If I don't change, my clean date will. I know that things have to continue with me and with everybody else, but it goes from asking for help and it's honestly one of those discovery professions, I guess. I found out that the only way that I could stay clean was to help other people do the same. 14 years active duty. I did get a discharge due to conditions around this, mental illness and addiction. But I feel like I'm getting my life back. Recovery is giving my life back. And I'm just happy to be here and happy to share. But it's, I guess it's not a field for the faint of heart, but at the same time, it's keeping me alive, So I'm going to hang in there. And I hope anyone interested in this field, it's all about networking, right? Everything that we do is together. I heard it a few times, nothing for us without us. I heard a lot of stories about the situation and, prison is a for-profit industry, always has been, designed to enslave and punish whatever population that the state deems undesirable. And at this point, it's basically addicts and people with mental illness and people of color, for the most part, by and large. And that's a system. I don't know if that's going to go away anytime soon. All we can do is advocate for healthy, clean living and opportunities for everybody. It may take generations, but we got to start somewhere. We can't, like C.S. Lewis said, we can't go back and change the beginning of the story, but we can start right where we're at and change the ending. And I think we're doing that. I think we're part of a team that's doing that. So I couldn't do that. I couldn't do this without God and my starting five, which has a deep bench. That's all the people I lean on for support all the time, from the addict with 2 days clean to the old timer with 32 years clean. We all got something to share. We all got something to bring to this. And, I was able to find help on a tribal level, where we're in a circle and everybody has a voice and everybody has brings meaning to this experience we call life. So I don't know if any of that makes sense, but
Yes, it does. It really does. I thank you so, so very much for sharing with us today, because it takes a look at how everybody makes a difference. Okay. And I appreciate you sharing. Well, it's 8:24. I found what I was looking for, and I would like to share this on the way out. Education, hope, and solution is very important. And we thank you all for being here with us today. We'll let you know when the next one is. So y'all hang on in there and take care. Please hashtag use 2020 hashtag and let everybody know about the summit. Y'all have a great evening and thank you again. I'll send out the link again for your swag bag, and I hope everybody got the agenda. Have a great day. It was a great meeting. Thank you, Anna. And y'all make sure you get your certificates. It's in the swag bag. Thank you, Tyler. The information in the swag bag is there as well. Thank you, Irma. Thank you, George Smith, for hanging in there with us. We really appreciate you. And Ruth, thank you so much. We really appreciate everyone. And it has been recorded, so we will put it on YouTube so the world can see for those who couldn't make it. We had registered almost 600 people who are thirsty and hungry for knowledge. Thank you all. I'm going to stop sharing and close out this meeting. Bye.